Hi BookTube, it's Gina. Today's Monday and I thought I would do a rather belated weekly wrap up for last week. On Friday, I still had not finished the two main books that I was reading, so I didn't really want to do a Friday reads because I was still just right in the middle of everything. But I've subsequently finished both of those books. So I've got 3 books that I wanted to check in with you on. And if you hear some scuttering around in the background, that is the kitten playing with a piece of paper, as kittens do, and being very energetic. I've also got my sweaters out, so I have swapped out my summer capsule wardrobe for my fall capsule wardrobe and wearing a cozy sweater today. It's right now probably 60 degrees, a little cloudy, a little gray, but we had a beautiful 75-degree day over the weekend. So we're hitting a really beautiful time of year here where we still have some warm, sunny days, but fall is definitely here. We're getting some rain and it's really cozy and nice. So the 3 books I want to talk to you about today are a Star Trek book, Federation, that I'm reading for BookTrek, The Priory of the Orange Tree, and then I will start with a book that I read on my Kindle that I got at the library, and it is called Love Saves the Day by Gwen Cooper, who also wrote Homer's Odyssey, which is a memoir, I think. I own it, but I haven't read it, which is interesting because I didn't realize when I started this book that it was the same author. I've got some notes here in my little imitation traveler's notebook that I bought up at the bookstore the last time I was there, or a couple times ago when I was there. I'm loving this for taking notes. It's got 2 blank notebooks, one of which I'm just using for YouTube notes, and then I had this this totally cheapy little like $2 weekly planner that I had bought at, I don't know, a discount store that I'm using and also just loving. I'm not much of a planner person, so I've tried a bunch of different planners, but I really like just a kind of a weekly spread. So anyway, I got a little off topic, but I don't know about you guys, but I'm always trying to kind of figure out how to keep notes, how to have a calendar, but not have a big fat planner. I realize even though the thought of that, almost like a scrapbook, really appeals to me, I just don't do it. So I'm finding this little weekly calendar is working really, really well for me to keep track of a few of the BookTube things that I want to pay attention to, like October and the reading that I'm going to do for that. So anyway, back to Love Saves the Day. So that book was a recommendation by a commenter here on my channel, and I just love getting feedback from commenters on things to read. So if you guys have any thoughts or any recommendations, please do share them. I was just in the mood for something sort of easy and cozy. I like to have an evening bedtime book that is really relaxing. And so someone recommended this as a cozy book. Love Saves the Day. It stars a cat named Prudence, who is sadly left when her favorite person in the world leaves, and she is taken by that person's daughter and son-in-law. And so it's told a little bit from the cat perspective, which is, I thought, really, really cute and well done. It's a little sadder than I thought it was going to be, a little darker than I thought it was going to be, because the couple is having some issues and struggling a little bit with the cat. It was a very, very good read. I really enjoyed it. So please keep the comments coming. If you have books that you've loved, I love to hear about them in the comments. So that is the first book that I finished. I finished that one like on Friday, I think, or Saturday. And I got that, I think I already mentioned, I got that at the library. They had the Kindle version, which was wonderful. And then for BookTrek, 2021, I read Star Trek Federation, and this is a wonderful crossover novel between the original series and the Next Generation, and I loved this book. It was, I thought, really interesting because it was about a industrialist and a scientist who really started the space travel possibility. And while I'm not a fan of some of our current industrialists who are trying to go into space, I thought this was really interesting. And on some level, it does make sense. The only people that can afford to go to space are the super rich money grubbers, but you know, people who have amassed quite a fortune. So I thought that was a really interesting kind of backstory on this one, and it felt pretty relevant to today. And I loved this book a lot. I really enjoyed it. So this was for BookTrek 2021. And then lastly, I read the Priory of the Orange Tree, and I did a buddy read of this with Elle at Elle Things, and that was really fun. So this is a chunky book, and I had picked it up a couple of times and then set it back down. And so reading it with her was actually a really great experience. It helped to kind of keep me on track. We chunked it up a week at a time and then did a check-in on Sundays. And that was a really, really fun experience. Now, I have to say, I didn't love this book. I'm a little bit disappointed that I didn't love it. I tried to love it. I wanted to love it, but it just didn't really work for me. It felt very, even though it's very long, it felt very underdeveloped to a large extent. The characters were underdeveloped. They were not very well fleshed out. You didn't really get much of their backstory. You didn't get much of their internal struggles, which they must have been having, because it was also about the conflict between two different branches of a religion, which I really also felt thematically that was not very well developed, which was surprising to me, because given the length of this book, I would have thought there would have been some really juicy religious themes to jump into. And it just didn't really seem to lend itself well to that. The story was also very straightforward. Like you could tell a description of the entire plot in a few lines. It ended exactly how I expected it to end, and the plot was quite contrived. So I don't necessarily have to have character development if there's a rip-roaring plot that just kind of whisks you along. The plot in this, though, was so very convenient. You could tell she had a basic story she wanted to tell, and she threw some other plot lines in order to push that story ahead. And every time it got to one of those other plot lines, you could just kind of see where she was heading with it. People ended up in exactly the places that they needed to be quite conveniently. And you could really see that happening on the page. Like, I need to have somebody over here, so I'm going to have them hop on a horse and ride here. When they got into trouble, there was conveniently an animal or somebody there that could kind of rescue them, and it was fine. I finished it and I enjoyed it, and I'm glad I read it, but I just felt like it was really underdeveloped and not as complex as I was really expecting it to be, given the length of the book. So that was my experience with Priory of the Orange Tree. I was a little disappointed, but I'm super glad that I read it. It was a really fun reading experience. and just a lot of fun to do a buddy read with my BookTube friend Elle, whose channel, of course, I will link down below. You should check it out. She's a really, really great booktuber. And then, so for the future, for this upcoming week, I'm going to start in on Bleak House today. I'm getting a little bit of a jump start on Victober. I'm doing that as a group read with some friends here on BookTube, using a Voxer group. And so we're going to do weekly check-ins on that also, because that's a big chunky book. I think that's going to help to kind of keep me on track too. So I really enjoy that aspect of doing group reads or readathons or buddy reads. But I am going to jump in and start it today, just to give myself a little head start, because I just finished these big books, and I'm actually right in a great place to start something new. So I am going to take advantage of that and start Bleak House for Victober. And then I do also, I posted my Victober TBR, so I will link that. I will link that here. And I do need to find a new BookTrek book. So we're reading Star Trek books for each series. We read the original series in August. We read The Next Generation in September. Next month, October, we're going to be reading Deep Space Nine. So I'm going to read a Deep Space Nine book, but I don't yet know which book I'm going to read. So I need to figure out which one. I was hoping I would be able to read more Star Trek books this month, but the month just kind of got away from me. And so I figure if I read one, I will be pleased with myself. But I'm having a ton of fun reading Star Trek books, which I have not ever read before. And so it's a lot of fun to explore that side of the Star Trek universe that I'm not that familiar with. So that is my week upcoming and my week last week. I hope you're having a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.